Well, hey gang, good morning. I am Brian and welcome back to my channel. The last video I posted, I built a little solar power generator, which is hiding back here in the little box. And I built that pretty much a specific reason, and that was to power this Newair chest freezer in the event that we ever have power that go down at the house. It's happened before and it's gonna obviously happen again. That's why I built it, and I'm gonna run a test on that station on this new Newair cooler. Chest freezer. Let me kind of tell you a little bit about this freezer and why we got it. So we did have power go out a couple of weeks ago, and I had to end up using a bunch of my little 12-volt small portable camping coolers to put everything in, and we lost some stuff because it couldn't all fit. So I got a Newair. This is a 6.7 cubic foot cooler, and these things are kind of built to fit perfectly in between most of our garage door side spaces, you know, in between the garage door. So it doesn't really take up any floor space, and it fits perfectly. And it's, again, almost 7 feet worth of storage space. Ton of room. I can't wait to fill this thing up, but it's just a pretty sweet little cooler. You got a light up here, and comes with a little basket if you want it, I guess. But it's got two kind of cooling zones. This thing goes from -15 to 7 degrees, and then from 32 degrees to 50 degrees. So it doesn't always have to function as like a deep freeze. You can actually use it as a refrigerator if you want to. It's not just a freezer. And it's got a fast freeze mode on it, which is important for me because if you guys follow my channel, you know all the fish that I catch. Bucket loads of them. When I bring all those fish back home to put in the freezer, it's got a fast freeze mode on it. So when you put a whole bunch of unfrozen food in the freezer, you want it to freeze fast so the food doesn't spoil. And this has a function on it to where it will fast rapid freeze within a few hours, like up to 15 pounds worth of food. So I like the fact that it does that as well. It does have a door alarm on it. We have kids. Don't think it's quite big enough for anyone to pop in there and hurt themselves, but it does have an alarm on it. It's got a lock feature on it for the temperature setting, so kids can come up there and play with the little buttons on it. And right now it's at 7 degrees, and this is LED, and you're not ever gonna be able to see that on this camera because of the frame rate. But overall, it's just a really cool little cooler. Freezer, I guess I should call it. That's a better name for it. But I'm real excited to use it. It does have an exterior drain plug down here, so if you do have to de-thaw this, you just simply unscrew that little cap right there, and you can hook a hose up to it and drain it outside. But for this test, guys, I mean, this thermometer right now is at 8,000 degrees. And this has been running because I was testing it. So I'm gonna put this thermometer right there on, that feels so good in there. And I'm going to unplug it. It's 9:33 on Saturday, July 23rd, okay? I'm going to show you here. My battery monitor is showing I'm at 100%, 13.72 volts. I'm gonna turn the inverter on. I'm actually gonna unplug this freezer from the wall. I'm going to plug it into the inverter. And I'm gonna see how long this whole contraption will power this cooler. I keep calling it a cooler. It's a freezer. How long it'll power this freezer for, because that's really what I want to know. And I'm probably going to let that battery get down to about 10%. I don't want to completely deplete the battery, but I think it'll be at least a good few days until that battery meter is going to show me it's got 10% left. But I want to actually see how long that thing will run this thing for, because that's really why I built it. But overall, I'm happy with the little battery solar generator thing that I built. This cooler here, I couldn't be happier with. It's gonna store all kinds of stuff. And with having 2 kids below 10 years of age, that little freezer is basically just gonna store ice cream. That's what I envision it storing. It's got, bags of chicken, all the fish that I catch. So it should come in really useful for our family, I'm hoping. But I will check back in periodically throughout today, tomorrow, however long this thing's gonna last, and kind of give you folks an update on where the battery stands and show you the temperature of this Newair chest freezer. We'll check back in a little bit. Thanks, guys. Okay, folks, so it is 9 o'clock in the evening, so it's been roughly 12 hours, I believe, since I started this test. So let's check out the Newair cooler, and it's showing 7 degrees. So let's see what it looks like in here. I love that light up there. And that's pretty much dead on accurate. That's not gonna focus for me. Well, that's not focusing for me, but take my word for it. That's right at about 7 or 8 degrees, which is pretty accurate. And it's maintained 7 degrees all day. I've been coming out here and looking at it, and that temperature hasn't fluctuated at all. I've kind of cheated and looked at it. But let me show you where the battery's at. So we're looking at, I'm at 13.2 volts, and my battery is now at 75.5%. And that is with no solar. That is just running off of the battery only. So I'm gonna wake up in the morning and see where we're at. I don't wanna run it down all the way to 0%. So I'm probably gonna stop this test at around 5 or 10%. We'll see what it looks like in the morning, but so far I'm really impressed with both the chest freezer and my little first time homemade, whatever you wanna call it, solar generator. Guys, we'll see you in the morning and I'll check back in. Folks, it is 9 o'clock in the morning now, and we are still going strong. So the cooler's doing its job. It's maintaining, feels good in there. It doesn't take long for that thing to rise as soon as I take it out, but it is holding a steady 7 degrees. So this, I think this cooler is gonna be fantastic for our little family and for what we need. But let's check out the battery. So hopefully you can catch that the voltage is at 13.1 now. And the battery percentage is at 53%. 24 hours, I have yet to hit 50% of this battery, according to this battery monitor. Now, it's pretty accurate. I've tested it with the Victron Smart Controller, because it also tells you the state of charge for the battery and how much capacity is left. So I'm pretty certain that this little Q-Work monitor does a pretty good job. You know, err on the caution side and say that I'm at 50% of my battery. So in 24 hours, I have reached 50% with 0 solar input whatsoever. So I'm thinking I can at least get it to 7 or 8 o'clock tonight. A day and a half off of one battery running a 7 cubic foot chest freezer set to 7 degrees. I think that's pretty good, because like I said, in the event of a true emergency, I'm probably going to run a solar panel out in the driveway anyway to supplement that battery. Again, this is just a test. I wanted to see how long that little battery would run it, and so far we're over 24 hours and it's at 53%. I will check back in a little bit after lunch and let you guys know where the battery sits then. Well, hey, fine folks, it is now, well, it's 101 degrees. That's not what I was looking for. It is almost 8 o'clock on July 24th. So I've had this freezer running for 35 hours now, and it got up to about 106 today here in Texas. So really nice and brisk weather. It was really enjoyable. But let me see where we're at. Try to get that really fast. And that thing climbs so quick. But it's below 10 degrees. So this little cooler, guys, it's rocking and rolling. I can't wait to get that thing loaded up with fish from next Thursday's camping trip. It's gonna be overflowing with fish. But let's see where we're at with the battery. So we're at basically 31%. So this thing has ran that chest freezer for about 35 hours. With no supplemental power, no solar, nothing, and 30% left. I'm gonna keep it running. I'm hoping that I can catch it in the morning when I wake up and it's still running so I can get it on camera. But just know that Redodo battery has lasted at least 35 hours. I'm guessing I probably have at least 15 to 20 more hours on that thing, but it'll be my luck. It's gonna be cut off in the morning. But it's running great. And in case you guys are wondering, the highest wattage, I did put a watt meter on on the freezer, and the highest watts that I've seen this freezer pull when the compressor kicks on is 68 watts. So it's not a really high draw compressor, which is good, and it doesn't have a whole lot of high startup power either. So you could run it on a very small gas generator if you had to, because there's not a whole lot of, like an air conditioner unit takes a lot of power right when it first starts up. The highest I ever saw that was 68 watts. So keep that in mind if you're looking at something like a freezer like this. you can run a small generator. You don't have to have one of these battery units. So guys, that's just check-in for today, and hopefully I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning when we wake up, and hopefully that thing's got a little bit of juice left in it so I can get it on camera. Good morning, everyone. It is 7:10 a.m. Monday morning, July 25th. Freezer's doing just fine as anticipated. Still 7 degrees. And this battery unit is still going. I am at now 9.7% capacity. My voltage is at 12.72, so I'm at the tail end of running this battery completely down. This has been 48 hours since I plugged it in, give or take an hour. I think I plugged it in at 9 o'clock Saturday morning, and it's 7 a.m., but I guarantee you I could get 2 more hours out of that thing. So 48 hours off of that battery running this 7 cubic foot chest freezer set to 7 degrees. So folks, I hope that little experiment kind of helped at all. Again, this is a 200 amp hour battery and a 1200 watt inverter from Ampeak that I'm running the setup on this Newair, and everything worked perfect. So I'll know I will be able to get at minimum 48 hours, and that is without any solar input whatsoever. So guys, I hope you found that informative. See you next time. Take care.